Thanks for staying with us on SABC News. Let's take a look at the markets. Asian equities slid in part due to China's manufacturing sector contracting. So the Shanghai Composite Index fell 0.47%. The Hang Seng Index was down 1.85%. And the Nikkei up, though, 0.53%. Let's go to Wall Street over in the United States. Wall Street rallied on Monday, kicking off what promises to be a hectic week that includes a heavy earnings docket, economic data, and the Federal Reserve's two-day monetary policy meeting. The S&P 500 gained 1.20%. The Nasdaq Composite Index gained 1.16%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 1.58%. Now, the rand is trading at 18 rand and 73 cents to the dollar, 22 rand and 82 cents to the pound sterling, and 19 rand and 96 cents to the euro. The JSE extended gains at intraday trade. The all-share index has added 0.5% to 70,330. The industrial 25 index is 0.7% up. Financials have gained 0.6%. The top 10 resources index is currently flat, and the precious metals and mining index is 1% to the good. Markets in Europe are higher at this hour. Britain's FTSE 100 has added 0.6%. The CAC 40 in France is 1% firmer, and Germany's DAX has strengthened by 0.7%. When we look at commodities, gold is trading at $1,999 an ounce, platinum at $937 an ounce, and a barrel of Brent crude oil at $88.20. Let's get some analysis on the local and international markets. Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers joins me now. Makwe, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Let's start in the United States. We saw Wall Street up there. What was driving that, both locally and globally, for them?
I think the fact that we've seen that some of the earnings that were reported outside were not that bad. And also we know that it's the build up to the Fed meeting which started today. But markets all are saying is that the Fed chair did indicate at some point that these yields which are keeping going up probably will make up for them not to necessarily to increase interest rates, meaning markets expected that interest rates hikes might have been a done deal that side, and we don't have to expect more going forward. So markets were reacting to that and positioning themselves.
All right, Makwe, normally when we look at the U.S. markets and they're up, we expect Asia to follow that. Not happening today. Markets in Asia not tracking Wall Street. Why is that? And just take me through the data that came out from China that's really spooking investors.
I think it's mainly of that poor data that came out of the Chinese economy. Okay. We've seen when it comes to the PMI for manufacturing, it went back into contraction, and that confirms to us that the stimulus that we've been seeing now lately has been very limited. And also we've seen also the non-manufacturing part of things slowing significantly, and also that itself, it confirms that their major trading partners outside China, they continue to struggle, and probably the guys might have to do more to try to stimulate the economy.
Makwe, let's stay in Asia. We know that we're having a lot of central banks around the world making pronouncements. What happened with the Bank of Japan? What utterances did they have that moved the markets?
The long and short is that the guys were not aggressive enough, according to the market participants. Yes, they've managed to make a bit of a tweak, but all that is pointing is that going forward, the guys are trying to loosen their grip when it comes to long-term interest rates. But for now, markets say, guys, we're not aggressive enough. Hence, we've seen the yen falling as well at some point, and markets confirmed and saw their yields going up before retreating.
Okay, let's go to Europe and take a look at what's moving their markets there. Property seems to be boosting stocks. Tell me about that, and tell me what else is moving markets in Europe.
So far, we've seen the inflation numbers that came out of the likes of France, the likes of Germany slowing down, and that confirms what the European Central Bank did last time when they make sort of some pause when it comes to increasing interest rates. And we know that in an environment where interest rates are no longer going up, that's very favorable for the likes of real estate.
Makwe, when we come closer to home, quite a lot of releases. Some would say a little bit more movement on the JSE than usual. What are you watching closely? What do you expect?
Other than the midterm budget speech tomorrow, today we've been watching the Q3 report coming out of AP and VEF. We've seen their volumes, and it was not surprising, continued to decline by over 3%. And we know that there's been that boycott when it comes to the Americans boycotting the brand. But the revenue was up nicely 5%, and all because because of good pricing, and also we've seen that their adjusted earnings managed to meet the market expectations. So we've seen the stock price going up.
Okay, Enoch Godongwana, our finance minister, expects to table the medium-term budget policy statement tomorrow, the 1st of November. Is it going to move markets in any way? And if you're looking ahead, what do you think is interesting on the local and international front?
I think tomorrow most of the things are already baked into the expectations, because unless if maybe they come to the usage of the special reserve fund that they have, but we expect them to tell us that this is what they're doing to try to help the economy, state-owned enterprises, that the guys have to continue to cut spending as they've issued a directive. But yes, we'll also for the whole of the week look into the U.S. non-farm job numbers that will be released on Friday. And other than the U.S. Fed announcing interest rates tomorrow, we'll also be looking into the Bank of England, which will also be announcing their interest rate decision on Thursday.
All right, Makwe Masirera, the Chief Investment Officer and founder of Makwe Fund Managers, thank you so much for your time and analysis on SABC News this afternoon. Really appreciate it. All right, it's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more business news and look ahead to that medium-term budget policy statement and what may come out of it. Do stay with us on SABC News.